Right, so I'm back with this. What I've done here is I've split this into two because it's a symmetrical object for one, and it means I work on one side and it'll do the same on the other. So I added a symmetry to it, made a few bends to it here. I'm just fixing a few other bits and pieces as we speak. And I've had to really get rid of all the triangles, especially for doing like a turbo smooth, because I found that I was getting some quite bad warping. Like you see here, there's some warping, but the worst part, it was like in this area where I want to do some work. Okay, so you'll see in the reference I've got all this here raised out, wrapped round. It's almost like these squares are, you know, recessed in. So let's see if I can simulate that. So I'll turn the turbo smooth down, maybe see what I get away with here. So I've got 1, 2 here. That could be these two. 1, 2. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So I'll need more geometry. So I'll just add another division. Let's say, yeah, let's undo till I get my symmetry back. Okay, there's my symmetry back. Again, I can work on one side. So I'll just click on ignore back facing. One, two, three, 4 of these. Up to about here. So I'll just start to pick some faces. First of all, I have to add another edit poly on top of the turbo smooth. So we could start a bit higher, a bit lower here we could start. So let's go 4 and let's miss 2. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Okay, so I'll go to the front on view and I'll turn off ignore back facing. I'll just select these to here, hold down control as well, and that way I can still use these references. Change this to select fence. And you see I've got the same all the way around. So back to my front view. Okay, I missed 2. What I'll do is I'll just select fence here from the outside. Same here. I was being asked whether I would use ZBrush for this. I might not use ZBrush at all because I've got a lot more control in Max, especially over polygons and what I want to do with them. ZBrush is good for organic, definitely good for organic, but I had a go at this earlier, sorry, I had a go at this trying to model out these bumps, and it got a little bit messy. So ZBrush is fine. I'm going to use Max all the way for this. It's all down to what you're making. You know, people can specifically say, yeah, oh, I want you to make a tree, but I want you to use Max. And it might be easier to use ZBrush for a tree, but it might not be. It just depends on your styling and stuff like that. Okay, so I've got all the bits selected, and I'm pretty sure that's how it looks. Pretty sure that's how it looks here. Something similar to that. I could even go closer here, but again I want to use the select fence so it selects through to the other side. Yeah, you can see I've already got this ridge in here that's done the work for me, so I could either go right to it or kind of make up a design. I think that'll do for the principle. I want to extrude. I'll extrude these in the way, just enough, just a bit there. I'm just checking it's done it right because there's some bits that don't look right to me. So maybe extrude again and choose local normals. That's better. Okay. So I'm just going to turn on realistic shading here. Turn off the wireframe. So far, it's not too far off this. It's not exact, but it's not too far off either. If I divide again, if I was to put another turbo smooth on top of this, then I'm getting more of the result that I want. That would give me a good high poly bake. Now there is a few other details here, like this whole part here is recessed in a similar fashion, and a few bits down here are recessed in a similar fashion. So we'll just turn that off, back to edit poly, turn on the wireframe, just go to shaded again. My worry is I've got all this warping down here, so in that case I might use ZBrush just to finish off some of the normal mapping, but I'll do what I can here because it's a lot simpler. So again, if I miss 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I choose these faces, so I'll just use the FN select, and I went 4 high, but this one goes all the way up. All the way up to the top. But I'll just go to a certain height here. And I can use the previous settings. Okay, so that's looking a bit better. There's still a lot of other detail to add, like this text, this recess. I can do the recess here, possibly, but again the geometry is a little bit warped. Possibly choose these ones here. Again, extrude with the previous settings. Okay, put the other turbo smooth on, and as you see, that looks pretty decent. Okay, so that's good enough for a low and high poly bake from Max. What I could do is just clone this whole thing, so I'll just shift and copy that off. I'll get rid of all these things: turbo smooth, edit poly, turbo smooth, symmetry. I'll collapse to, and I will remove this loop with the control backspace. So this here is really my low poly. This here is a high poly. Save that. Collapse everything to here. One of the things I want to make sure of. Let me just hide this first. Put this back to 0. Just want to make sure I've not messed up my UV unwrap, which I might have because I did a lot of editing. What you can see here is you can only see half of the mesh because it's baked in the symmetry. So I've got a few issues here. So it just means I have to do a little bit of UVing again, but I don't mind showing you that again. So I'll just pack all the UVs. That gets everything back there. Let's pick some faces to see what's what. Okay, I've got this here is the whole back part. So I'm just going to go to the relax for that. Similar to before, but I don't have to do as much here. So I'm just going to round everything and relaxing. and it's giving me the other side back as well. So everything looks okay. Just pack the UVs again, tidy it up, get a little bit more space used up here. There's certain parts I want to keep relatively straight as well. A good checker effect to put on this is like one of the checkers you get online. So if I find one that I use, and this is good for if you're going to put like writing on something, it's good to have this. And this way I can see the orientation of things. So you can see the E is reading right, but the numbers are reading wrong there. That one looks fine. You know, it means I can quite easily work on it for lettering and stuff. Now, to go one better, I'll move them around like that. Okay, so that's good. It's got the writing going the right way. This one needs flipped. It's now got the writing going the right way. I've started to pack my UVs so that everything's the right way up. Now this is like really meticulous. You don't have to do this. You can always reorient things in Photoshop, but it just makes it a little bit easier. Okay. I just want to get everything so it's like in a square, and then I can scale it up to match the rest. I don't want to scale little parts up individually because I'll end up with a different texel density, and I want to keep everything overall the same. It's a bit of a no-no if I was to scale something up for more detail. Depending what it is, but in general you don't want to do that. So you scale everything up uniform. The pack UVs keeps everything to the same scale. That way everything looks natural, whatever scale it's at. Okay, so that's good enough there. Let's collapse 2 for that. So I've got my low poly with the UV mapping done. The high poly doesn't need anything, but I really want to now just put a normal material on it. Let's call this the AO material. What I do is just get a solid white, tiny little bit of specular level if you want. I'll just leave it at 0. Sometimes I'm tempted to bring that up for some reason, I don't know why. So if I unhide all, I've got my high poly there. So high poly, just make sure it's selected, you'll see the name up there. Add the same material to that. Let's hide unselected. And if I press 0, I can render to texture here, but I really need a skylight in. You get that under standard lights, skylight. Turn on the cast shadows. I'm just going to bring this down to 5 so you can see it working quick enough for the video. I can always blur it out and stuff like that in Photoshop. So with the high poly selected, choose my map output size, but I'll have to add a, you can use a diffuse map here. Complete map will tend to give you a good result as well, but diffuse seems to work fine. I'll change that to 512. Let's render and see how it looks. Now you can see this high poly is based on the UVs that were there before, so I'm not getting the proper thing happening. Sorry about that, but it's because I use so many methods, I'm getting a little bit mixed up here. So what I want to do is unhide all. I want to choose my low poly. I want to choose projection enable projection modifier and pick the high poly. It'll give me a list there. I'll get this cage here. Cage can sometimes be a little bit messy like that. But what you can go in and what you can do is you can go in and you can like decrease the tolerance a little bit. You can push it or pull it. So I would get it quite close to it because I'm sure I won't get many errors like that. And then you would add normals map. So 512. Output into normal bump and render. And you see some misses here, so what I tend to do is just up the tolerance a little bit more. Or increase, push the cage out a little bit more, increase the percentage. And there we go. So that's rendered out a normal map. Just make sure retrieve it. So I'll just go to the desktop, low poly normals map, that's fine. Okay, render that out. Okay, so I'll delete that and I'll do complete map. I'll rename that to AO map. Now I'm not sure what it's gave me out. It's gave me the normal map, but that's really it. To do an ambient occlusion map, you could copy the UVs, I guess, from the low poly, but that wouldn't work. There is a way to do this. There's our normal map, so let's test that out. Sorry if this tutorial is a little bit half-baked. It's just that I'm used to working in different methods here. No, just give me the poly, just ditch that. Hide unselected. Let's see how it actually looks with that map on it. As you can see, it doesn't look too bad. Just needs a little bit of clean up here and there. But basically, once you've got the normal map out, you can get an ambient occlusion from it. I think you can get it from this actually. So let me add color to this. I'm working in a slightly different way from normal, so let's see if I can get this to work. So if I turn off projection, delete that, let's add just a diffuse map, unhide all. So I should have a skylight in there. If I render this, I should get some ambient occlusion. And there we go, I'm getting some little bit of ambient occlusion from it. Yeah. So it's obtaining it from the normal map, which is one of the ways that I would do it here. Obviously, the more rays that I add to the light here. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit frustrated because Max has so many fiddly things going on, and I seem to be getting caught up in them quite a lot. So if I render that out again, I'll just pause the video. So there you go, it's made a nice ambient occlusion. Just needs cleaned up here and there. So if I render that out from here, this is the diffuse, 512, render. Okay, let's go back into material there. PNG diffuse. It seems to have saved over. It seems to have saved over something the last. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it saved over the normal map file that I made earlier. So I'm getting a little bit wound up by it because it shouldn't have, rather. But I think I had it set up here. It shouldn't have. I should be able to find it and load it. That should be it. for some reason it's not shown. Just overwrite that just now. Could be the wrong materials on it. Yeah. Okay, and a diffuse, I'll add the PNG. Always seems harder to do tutorials and talk at the same time. Like do something and talk at the same time is really quite tricky. So there's your high poly on the left and your low poly on the right. And you can see it needs a lot of cleaning up here. There's just a few baking issues. But if you bring them into Photoshop, I'm also having a few issues with the screen record where it's not moving these around. There's a few things just not acting the way they're meant to, and it's frustrating me somewhere along the lines. So sorry if I seem like I'm ready to go a bit crazy, because like here's something else that's not working right. I think Camtasia needs to get their act together. And so here I'll just go ahead and I'm just going to delete out certain parts. Again, another thing that's not working, but you get the idea. So you've got your ambient occlusion, you've got your normal maps. All you need really is to just add some diffuse, and that's you. So just keep at it. Sorry about these tutorials not being as good as I want them to be. It's just the screen recording is really interfering a little bit, and so far Camtasia Studio is about the best screen recorder I've used, apart from the odd interference with other software. But I hope these are being useful tutorials. I'll be giving tutorials a break for a while to work on my Folio site, my Folio work, some coursework, and I'm doing work for a few different companies at the minute. Okay, so thanks for all your watching, and feel free to ask questions. I'll do the best to respond to you. You can comment on any of the videos that you watch, or you can email me via any of the links. Okay, cheers, bye.